In this video, we're going to talk about the Engage the Senses strategy, exploring with the senses. Hands-on experiences make for the best kind of science learning. You can engage children in hands-on science learning by encouraging them to use their 5 senses as they explore science phenomena. While the senses of sight, sound, smell, and touch can be used in almost all science learning activities, when you use healthy foods as a part of science learning activities, children can use all 5 senses. Food activities can include taste testing, cooking, or simply exploring a piece of broccoli. This makes food an important phenomenon to explore during science learning while also encouraging healthy eating. Win-win! But what does this really look like in your classroom? Imagine one afternoon during snack time, children in your classroom are given sliced apples. After a few minutes, a child turns to you and asks, "Why is my apple slice turning brown?" This is the perfect opportunity to help children explore the phenomenon of why fresh fruits and vegetables brown through engaging the senses. To explore the concept, encourage children to use their senses in different ways. For example, ask children to use their sense of sight to observe the browning piece of fruit. One big idea in science learning is teaching children to compare and contrast. So you could also ask children to compare a browned apple to one that has not yet browned. Encourage children to smell and touch the 2 different apples. Does the browned apple smell or feel any different than a non-browned apple? Build on these experiences to explain how fruit, such as apples, can start to turn brown after sitting for a few minutes because the air hitting the cut apples causes it to turn brown. Explain that a little brown on an apple after sitting on your plate for a few minutes does not mean the apple is no longer safe to eat. It's simply a harmless change in color. In fact, cut produce, like these apples, can be safely left on the table unrefrigerated for 2 hours and still be safe to eat. End the activity by inviting children to engage their sense of taste by trying their apple slices. As you've just seen, this activity used the 5 senses to explore a phenomenon. Using the 5 senses wheel, we can see more ideas for how children can engage their senses in science learning while exploring vegetable phenomena. Children can engage their sense of sight by looking at pictures of vegetables in books or observing them with a magnifying glass. Children can engage their sense of smell by smelling different vegetables in a variety of forms, such as raw, chopped, or cooked. Children can engage their sense of touch by feeling different fruits and vegetables and being involved in classroom activities involving food, such as washing and preparing foods for cooking. Children can engage their sense of sound by saying the name of the vegetable, or listening to the sound it makes when eating it. And, of course, children can engage their sense of taste by tasting vegetables featured during food activities. While all the senses are important, providing children with the opportunity to taste foods during or at the end of learning activities is important because the more experiences children have with healthy foods, the more likely they are to try and eat them over time. Having the option to eat food at the end of activities is also important to prevent food waste. You are likely aware of this fact and may have had concerns in the past about wasting food during science learning activities. To prevent wasting food, stay away from activities that may change food in such a way that it is no longer safe to eat, such as using food as a construction material or as a way to paint. Instead, if food is to be eaten raw, like uncooked fruits or vegetables, allow each child to prepare only their own foods and touch only their portion. If food is going to be heated prior to eating, for example, boiled, baked, steamed, or sautéed, children can collectively handle and prepare ingredients, since heat will kill harmful bacteria. Lastly, remember that children exploring healthy foods using their sense of taste is the gold standard. However, it's important not to pressure children to try foods. You want children to feel empowered to taste foods on their own. Praise from the teacher should not only be when children put food into their mouths, but as they explore using their other senses too. In your journey with food in the classroom, you might run into the occasional picky eater. In fact, you're likely to encounter many picky eaters because it's during the preschool years that children's fear of the new is highest. But don't be discouraged. Simply continue encouraging children to explore the food using their other senses. Know that exploring food with the other senses, like sound, sight, smell, or touch, can still improve the chances that the child will be willing to try the food later. Now that you've learned about the first strategy for engaging the senses in the process of science, let's take a moment to review what we've learned. The best kind of science learning involves hands-on experiences which engage all 5 senses. Using food-based learning activities centered around vegetables is a great way to engage all 5 of children's senses as they learn, as well as increase children's exposure to healthy foods. While engaging in food-based learning activities, children can look at, smell, and touch the vegetables provided, listen to the sounds the vegetables make as they are bitten into, and taste the flavors of each one. Exposing children to these vegetables during learning activities also makes it more likely that they will be willing to eat them in the future. Don't worry if children aren't willing to taste them right off the bat, though. All experiences with vegetables, whether it be with taste, sight, sound, smell, or touch, increase the likelihood that children will be willing to try these foods in the future. For more ideas, check out your P's Teaching Guide.